For the last few decades, modern parenting and education have operated on a very specific, perfectly engineered assumption. If you can guarantee a child's physical safety and maximize their academic and extracurricular achievements, you will produce a happy, flourishing adult. We built entire life strategies around what writer David Brooks calls resume virtues. We push our kids and ourselves to optimize for the things that get you hired: productivity, high GPAs, and measurable success. You can see the absolute peak of this mindset in Yale professor Amy Chua's 2011 memoir about being a tiger mother. She demanded straight A's, mandated hours of daily instrument practice, and operated on the strict belief that mastery and achievement were the highest goals. And we bought into it. We assumed that mastering these rigorous external metrics was the mathematically proven path to a good life. But the results are in. The generation produced by the most intensive, achievement-optimized culture in history is breaking down. This line graph tracks generational mental health over 25 years. As psychologist Jean Twenge's data shows, right around 2012, as widespread smartphone adoption took hold, the line for teen depression, anxiety, and loneliness spikes dramatically. Today's young people are the most physically safe and digitally connected generation to ever exist. Yet they spend significantly less time in face-to-face interaction and are more isolated than any generation before them. Journalist Johan Hari offers a framework for why this is happening. After spending years researching the mental health epidemic, he realized it is rarely a random biological malfunction. It is a highly rational structural response to deep disconnection. The achievement equation failed on its own terms. We successfully optimized the student for the modern economy, while completely starving the human being of the connection required to survive it. So where did that connection go? To understand this epidemic of isolation, we have to look at the environment we removed these kids from. Political scientist Robert Putnam documented the massive decline of what he calls social capital. For generations, communities had built-in scaffolding, local institutions, neighborhoods, and community groups that provided structural resilience and identity. Over the last few decades, that scaffolding systematically collapsed. The void left behind was quickly filled by something else. Sociologist Christian Smith ran a massive study on American teenagers and found they weren't accidentally drifting away from deep community values. They were accurately reflecting the highly individualistic priorities their parents modeled for them. Smith coined a term for this new default operating system: moralistic therapeutic deism. It's the inherited belief that the universe's only real goal is to make you feel happy, good about yourself, and successful. By stripping away the thick expectations of community in favor of a feel-good, consumer-driven lifestyle, parents accidentally removed the exact support structures young people needed to withstand the pressures of modern life. Yet, in the middle of this structural collapse, some groups are successfully forming resilient young adults. Researchers at Fuller Seminary spent years tracking high schoolers into adulthood to figure out exactly why some maintain their core values and resilience, while roughly half walk away entirely. This chart compares core value retention. Program-based curriculums and polished events are hardly effective, completely dwarfed by communities prioritizing a relational model. Values stick because people carry them. The study found a distinct ratio for success: 5 supportive, non-parent adults actively investing in one teenager. Intergenerational relationship functions as the primary transmission vehicle for human character. It is the biological and sociological hardware that allows values to actually take root. We don't have to guess if this relationship-first model works. We have the longest-running study on adult happiness ever conducted, right out of Harvard. Starting in 1938, researchers tracked 724 men across their entire lives. They studied 2 drastically different groups: Harvard sophomores and boys from Boston's poorest neighborhoods, monitoring every aspect of their health, work, and environment. Now in its 85th year, psychiatrist Robert Waldinger leads the project, and the definitive conclusion is striking. The men who flourished were not the ones with the highest GPAs, the best salaries, or the most fame. Looking at this scatterplot, the metrics of wealth and achievement fade away. What remains is a single trend line: the tighter your circle of close relationships, the longer you live. Men who were connected to friends and family at 50 were the healthiest at 80. Loneliness is an evolutionary alarm bell. It is your body signaling that a structural necessity for survival is missing. Which brings us back to Amy Chua and the extreme pursuit of the resume. Her method of demanding relentless perfection worked for a long time, until it met a will it couldn't break. During a family trip, her younger daughter completely snapped under the pressure. Faced with the total rebellion of her child, Chua realized her optimization metrics had a fatal flaw. She was gambling her relationship to secure an achievement. In that moment, she backed down. She chose the relationship. The data is entirely clear. We are designing our lives to maximize the things that will eventually leave us anxious and isolated. It is time to stop optimizing for the virtues on your resume and start investing in the people sitting at your table.